I just wanted to do everything right.
फैशन में वो प्रॉब्लम है कि वो ट्रेंड चेंज हो जाते हैं.
I just tend to attach a lot of meaning to every article that I'm putting out. Like me wearing the same outfit 4 to 5 times so that it's normalized. You can wear the same outfit twice or thrice because I have a washing machine at home.
Yes.
I have a dry cleaning service.
Yes,
I can wear my clothes again. How, you know, a lot of businesses, they run on the idea कि किसी की insecurity है और उसको target करना. I don't want anyone to feel like they don't belong. We're not a fan of giving discounts, but since you asked, we're all learning and we're learning together. That's why I say I never want to sound preachy when I say this.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am your host Wasif Hussain. We've been doing this series called Tangent. इसमें हम डिज़ाइन से रिलेटेड चीज़ें सीखते रहते और देख रहे थे कि पाकिस्तान के अंदर मुख्तलिफ जो प्रैक्टिशनर है वो किस किस किस्म के डिज़ाइंस प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं. बट देन फिर बीच में ये भी हुआ कि हमारा स्कोप बढ़ता गया. हमने फ़ैशन के लोगों को बुलाया, हमने मार्केटिंग के लोगों को बुलाया, फिर सस्टेनेबिलिटी के लोग आए, टेक के लोग आए. देयर्स सो मेनी different experiences that we got from those people. But today we have someone again from fashion as well, but then fashion which is very relevant and which is very needed. I'm slightly sad because she doesn't make clothes for men, because
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Okay, I'll go again and I'll check out. So you already have one customer. So yes, it's her name is Sania. She is an entrepreneur and she is a founder. She runs a fashion label of her own. But then there's so many other things that she told me about. वो हम उनसे खुद पूछेंगे. अस्सलाम वालेकुम सानिया.
Walaikum assalam.
कैसी हैं आप?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Happy to be here, honestly.
Yes. And then thank you so much for correcting me. I thought कि शायद it's because I remember those saris. I remember those other
I
clothes.
actually, when I started out,
Sahi.
the aim for the label was
Sahi.
it's for everyone
ठीक है.
and also not for everyone because a lot of the designs from the first collection were androgynous. They were supposed to be for everyone. You can carry them very easily. But uske baad se, I think I've done a lot of kurtas, I've done a lot of blazers, I've done a lot of pants. And yeah, we have men on the page. You can check out our models as well.
Damn it, I missed those videos. But
No problem.
I'll definitely check them out. Okay. Sania, can you quickly give you an introduction और थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बता सकते हैं audiences के लिए?
Yes, of course. I grew up in Lahore. I've lived here all my life, and I started Sifur. Sifur is the name of my brand, and it's a representation of sustainability, of the number 0, how it adds value to anything, and also about slowing down and all of that. And so yeah, I've been doing this for 2.5 years now. And I'm the creative director. I sometimes do the pictures as well. And I'm the main designer for my brand.
Sahi.
And yeah, I'm a block printing enthusiast. I'm a painter. I have done a lot of that before as well, before starting this. I'm a psychology graduate. I graduated in 2021 from FC College. And I was an English minor, and I love reading. I love doing pretty much everything. So yeah, pretty much.
Thank you so much. Like
No
giving us a peek of the multifaceted role of Sania at Sifur, and Sania, what she's been doing before that. Okay. हमने अभी 2-3 डिस्कशंस की पिछली इसी पॉडकास्ट के नए एडिशन के अंदर सस्टेनेबिलिटी के ऊपर, उन चीज़ों के ऊपर बात की. उसमें हम डेफिनेटली सेकंड हाफ के अंदर आएंगे. बट प्लीज़ टेल अस के हाउ डिड यू एंड अप इन दिस डोमेन ऑफ फैशन. व्हाट वाज सॉर्ट ऑफ द ब्रेकिंग पॉइंट और द रियलाइजेशन कि अच्छा ये सिफर की बात या नेट ज़ीरो या कार्बन फुटप्रिंट या सस्टेनेबिलिटी की चीज़, हाउ डिड लाइक यू
Acha, so I think firstly, like, was idea se, because I always wanted to I just had this love for clothing, hamesha se. I will never shy away from that. And I think one thing that I learned very early on is making my own things, just being very independent with my clothing, knowing what colors I like even as a kid. And my mom would take me to the fabric store कि जी ईद के लिए क्या बनाना है देख लो कौन सी लेसेस लगानी है खुद से देख लो I would do all of that myself. So that is where I got the inspiration to create outfits. Uske baad I got into recycling a lot. So I would always be interested to wear amma ka koi purana dupatta with a new outfit. I would always go back to the old fabric and I would always find that more, I would resonate with it more. Or and when you learn about new things, I started learning how much we waste by buying new things all the time. And I also started noticing कि एक चीज़ मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा bother करती है और मुझे अभी भी करती है, how fast trends change. And we feel the need to buy more आजकल because वो जो चीज़ आपने पहले खरीदी है 6 महीने पहले वो अब relevant ही नहीं होती है. So it's like, what is the way that I can incorporate timelessness in my own life as well? कि कोई ऐसी चीज़ों पे इन्वेस्ट करना जो मैं बार बार पहन सकती हूँ, चाहे वो मेरे जूते हैं, चाहे वो मेरे कपड़े हैं. Also, I have a very small room, so मुझे ये था कि the less I buy, the more easy it is for me to store them as well, because you have to think about that too. So वहाँ से ही सारा जो changes मेरे personal life में चल रहे थे as a consumer, I was buying less. I was trying to create better pieces for myself that I can use for a longer time. Investing is in colors that would, stay with me longer. So suddenly, I told you that when I was graduating in 2021, I just thought, "Ki acha nahi, I have practiced enough. I have done my research enough, and I have some prior experience of dealing with, customers as well. So now I can finally come up with a brand ideology." And three things that were always very important to me were, okay, pehle whatever I'm doing, I will put in my absolute heart into it. I will not get distracted by what everyone else is doing, because that would tend to get very distracting. Secondly, when it comes to inclusivity, it's going to be completely size inclusive, because I'm not going to do small, medium, and large, जैसे बाकी सब कर रहे होते हैं.
ठीक है.
And there's a feature on the website where you can add in your measurements. Whatever size you feel like a size starts अगर आप नहीं agree कर पा रहे हैं किसी भी sense में, तो you can just put in your own measurements in the bar, which applies to almost every article that I've launched. कोई limited edition होता है तो फिर obviously वो pieces पर depend करता है. And thirdly, I just wanted to do everything right from the first day. When it comes to the website, when it comes to the quality of the content that I'm producing, that is just a personal choice. I just tend to attach a lot of meaning to every article that I'm putting out. So I think these were the three things that I kept in mind when I started out.
So this is when you were telling about your journey as a customer, or as a user, you said okay, you were interested in buying things which would stay with you. Or you also talked about timelessness. Then you also like you were very mindful of your own room or the space that
Yes.
you had. But there was some sort of a notion of efficiency. It whatever I'm collecting, or whatever I need, it has to be like efficiently incorporated into my room, or into my life.
जी.
है ना? But then this is very inspiring. Then you resolve that as a consumer, as a buyer. But then you also you're giving that experience to your
The
customer as well.
yes.
If you saw that okay, वही fashion में वो problem है कि वो trend change हो जाते हैं, और fast fashion की बात
This
है.
is why I usually, when I'm talking to my customers, and मैं उनको बोलती हूँ कि please take your time on the website. You don't have to place an order. That's completely all right, because do you actually need what you're looking for? Because sometimes we just buy because we have to buy. There might be a piece in our closet that is completely fine for that event that you have to go to, but we just need to shop more. So this is what I actually talk to people as well. Ke I know, I understand, but just think of if you need this, then you need it. If you don't, and that's completely all right. You don't have to feel bad for it. Because I was talking to someone once and they were like कि चीज़ों की अगर prices पहले से लिखी हो ना तो embarrassment नहीं होती प्राइस पूछने की. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And they were like कि नहीं, प्राइस पूछते हुए काफ़ी बुरा लगता है कि आपको प्राइस सुनी है आपने और वो आपको नहीं सूटेबल लगी और फिर आपने ऑर्डर नहीं प्लेस किया तो क्या इंप्रेशन पड़ रहा है. This is how the consumer is thinking कि it's completely all right if you cannot buy something उस वक्त. You can completely come back to it. It's completely all right. And there's nothing wrong with not buying something for an event. You can go back. This is why I started posting the outfits that I wear 4 से 5 बार. Like me wearing the same outfit 4 to 5 times so that it's normalized. You can wear the same outfit twice or thrice because I have a washing machine at home. Right?
Yes,
I
yes.
have a dry cleaning service.
Yes,
I
yes.
can wear my
हाँ
clothes again.
It's a really
So
nice piece of
so sustainability is not just कि कपड़ा कैसे बना के आया है, नया खरीद रहे हैं तो वो फिर obviously you're adding to the the mass of clothes that you have. So I guess I think at the if you remember at the session that we
yes,
did
yes,
together,
yes.
I think वहाँ पे ही हम एक discussion कर रहे थे कि आपकी हमारा जो देसी culture है वो naturally ही बहुत sustainable था हमेशा से when it comes to clothing. कि आपके cut pieces से सूट बन जाते थे, आपके एक्स्ट्रा फैब्रिक को इस्तेमाल कर लिया जाता था, घर में किसी एक इंसान को कपड़े सीने आते थे, बटन लगाना आता था, कपड़े मेंड करना आते थे. बिकॉज इट डजंट मीन कि इफ़ यू आर बाइंग फ्रॉम अ हाई क्वालिटी सस्टेनेबल ब्रांड तो वो चीज़ ख़राब नहीं हो सकती है. सो मेंडिंग इज़ ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ योर सस्टेनेबल प्रैक्टिस.
Yes, vending, and if I add, वही जो एक रिस्पॉन्सिबल यूजेज है.
एग्जैक्टली.
जैसे अभी अभी सस्टेनेबल एक और डिस्कशन हुई थी हमारी फैशन काउंसिल के सीईओ के साथ, तो वहाँ पे भी हमने ये बात की कि जैसे वो रज़ाइयाँ होती थी,
जी जी जी.
रज़ाइयों को हम मतलब हमारे यहाँ कॉटन बहुत सस्ता होता है. हमारे यहाँ रुई हमें बहुत किलो के हिसाब से आराम से मिल जाती थी. बट हम फिर भी वो रज़ाई खोलते थे और उसकी धुनाई करते थे, उसको साफ़ करते थे और हम उसको रिस्पॉन्सिबल तरीके से यूज़ करते थे. एंड ऑफ कोर्स वही रली की तो हम बहुत दफ़ा एग्जांपल दे चुके हैं.
बिल्कुल.
अगेन मेरे ख्याल से इस पॉडकास्ट पे हम वो बड़ी बात भी करते हैं कि जिस तरह हमारे अगर दिन में खाना बनता है या एक दिन में खाना बनता है, रात को खाना बनाए, तो इट्स वेरी ईजी कि मतलब आप सुबह भी और दोपहर को वो वाला खाना खा सकते हैं, रोटी को तल के वो दोबारा खा सकते हैं. तो इट्स नॉट इवन हम वो कोई किसी को दिखाने के लिए, किसी को प्रूफ करने के लिए या इवन उस कॉन्शियसनेस से भी नहीं करते कि मतलब ये सस्टेनेबल प्रैक्टिस है.
मेरा नहीं ख्याल है कि हमारी अम्मियाँ वो डब्बे इकट्ठे करती थी बिकॉज उन्होंने किसी अगले दिन जाके दिखाना है कि मैंने इतने डब्बे इकट्ठे कर लिए. ये हमारी नेचुरली एक प्रैक्टिस है कि जो किसी चीज़ का जार रहा है उसमें बाद में सौंफ पड़ी हुई है, उसमें बाद में इलायची पड़ी हुई है. बिकॉज हमारे अपने किचन में ऐसे ही होता है कि कोई डब्बा आता है तो वो फेंका नहीं जाता, उसमें कोई ना कोई चीज़ डाल दी जाती है, तो बाद में फिर इस्तेमाल हो रही होती है.
और वो डब्बा फिर बाद में बच्चों से ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है.
वो फिर डब्बा हमसे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है और उस डब्बे की साइज़ पे भी डिपेंड करता है. और फिर हमारे घर में तो ये मीठे का डब्बा अलग और अच्छा स्पाइसी चीज़ों का डब्बा अलग और इस तरह की स्मेल चली जाएगी नहीं दूसरे डब्बे के अंदर. तो फिर यही बात है कि हम नेचुरली ही बहुत सस्टेनेबल प्रैक्टिसेस कर रहे थे, हमें बस उनके पास वापस आने की ज़रूरत है.
नहीं definitely. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, Sania, कि your project, your brand Sifur, yes, it is connected to that sustainability वाली बात, और वो it's about conscious consumerism, or you're also giving a service जो कि बहुत relevant भी है. But then I cannot ignore this realization कि it's like कि ये जो business है, it's run by a consumer herself. When again जो
yes, I'm still a consumer.
है ना?
It's not that I just wear my stuff.
है ना?
Yeah.
कि you whatever you experience as a fashion buyer, as a consumer, then you've built a business model around it. And then I could see कि the same thing you're offering your customer, because you've felt those things, and you realize those problems and challenges.
Exactly.
That's really, really intelligent.
Thank you.
And then of course it's very relevant and needed. ठीक हो गया. Okay, so ये तो हमने बात की थोड़ी सी कि फैशन और सस्टेनेबल उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट के अंदर. Tell me about your entrepreneurial journey, because we हमने briefly जब एक बात की थी कि you said कि अच्छा कुछ लोग शायद उस तरह की भी चीज़ कहते हैं कि when they ask you about you being a creative director or you being the designer, so वो जो एक ट्रेनिंग की बात आती है या your
Gee, they're usually very curious to know where I've come from or what school I've come from and everything. So, मेरा actually, मैंने आपको बताया that I was interested in fashion हमेशा से. It wasn't that के. I think this also became because back in 2017,
हम्म,
18, 17, I
सही
started an art page where we were selling canvases, we were selling bookmarks, or it used to be, it used to be very trendy, it used to be very cute. ठीक है? जो भी shows चल रहे हैं recent, उनके characters, उनके cards हैं. And then I would do very quirky cards with wishes and everything, and I would do everything by hand. वही वाला था सारा process. आहिस्ता आहिस्ता I learned doing digital art on my phone. Um, सो वो ऐसे इनकॉर्पोरेट में करती गई प्रिंटिंग और ये सारा कुछ इनकॉर्पोरेट करती गई फ्रेम्स ये आई गॉट अ लॉट ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस फ्रॉम देयर where I was using my art. I was also studying at the same time, so that was a challenge. Um, but yes, I was using that medium which I always liked, which was paint, which I'm still using because my work is basically using a lot of block printing. So the paint wala element is still there. So, वहाँ से I got to learn a lot about consumer behavior, um, how much people want to spend and on what. Like when someone, for example, it's very funny that when someone would, want to get a card for a person that they love, ठीक है, for example, they care about, and they would say, कि, अच्छा, ये थोड़ा महंगा हो रहा है, ठीक है? And I was like, क्या मतलब? You're getting it for a person that is very important to you and it's 300 rupee card. What is the problem here? But then I also realized that, you have all kinds of
हम्म,
people. So wahan se na I got the idea of how the mind works here. So, you have to, it's not about who they're getting it for, it's also about कि वो कौन सी price जो है वो actually um, लग रही है उनको, that they can actually consume that. I think price point, आजकल का जो मसला है ना जो fast fashion का वो price point भी है कि because sustainable fashion is expensive. Sustainable fashion actually consume karna for a person who's used to of buying, 5 outfits within the same budget. So obviously they will go towards um,
something which is
something which is more accessible
more
for them.
accessible. By the way, you could have asked that person who was buying a card, ke, is your person is sasta or is your love for that person is sasta? If you're asking for
No, I
कि
think
ये महंगा
it's
महंगा हो रहा है.
I think it's also the fact that maybe they were buying for multiple people.
Okay.
So maybe इस
Economy
वजह
is
से
economy of
अकॉर्ड
scales. Economy
फिर
of
वो
scales
इसलिए
comes in.
महंगा पड़ रहा होगा because they were buying for multiple people. By the
Hmm.
way, best time. That time was the best time of my life because
Okay.
I'm telling you, I got to know so much about consumer behavior because of that business, because I was interacting with people who were pretty much my age or sometimes younger even. And then I had the best customers sometimes, people who were, I could also, वो नहीं होता कि थोड़ा बहुत आपका यकीन भी इंसानियत में और इस तरह की चीज़ों में जागता है कि some people would put in so much effort for their friends or for a partner or for people that they were getting gifts from, and it sort of like stayed the same with Sifur as well, because sometimes people are getting gifts for their friends. Or abhi recently this person ordered a gift for their friend and they were like, she buys from you और मुझे पता है कि उसको आपकी चीज़ें पसंद है, so that's why I'm buying from you for her birthday. So वही वो practice सेम इधर भी implement हो रही है इस business के अंदर भी. So I got to learn a lot from there. और हाँ, challenging होता था कभी कभार कि ये कपड़ा है, ठीक है? So उसको अगर किसी ने बोला ना कि they didn't like it or that it didn't fit them, I would understand. But if it's something that I've painted with my own hand and then I'm getting the wrong kind of feedback out of it, so that wouldn't essentially feel that well. So that's where I mentioned ke that's where I learned ke no, I will be able to say no when I need to, because some things are not for everyone. So वहाँ से मैंने ये बात बहुत सीखी थी कि कभी-कभार it's all right if people don't like something that you make.
बिल्कुल
So yeah.
बिल्कुल सही. Okay, so Sania, when we were discussing earlier, before this shoot, you mentioned, about that environment that you had early on in your
जी जी जी
childhood, which was, related to. Uh,
yes.
Please do tell, but you know what I'm
जी
pointing
जी
at.
जी I'm coming back to it. So basically I think आप basically सारी एक initial journey का ही पूछ रहे हैं, तो उसका ये बहुत बड़ा part है कि if we go before the art business thing that I was doing. So I haven't had a proper art school background, but I would thank um, I think my amma for being so nurturing when it comes to when it comes to raising kids who are very artistic from the beginning. And she was always so encouraging. She would buy us any art supplies that we needed. वो हमारे chart papers और जो भी school projects होते थे, she would help in them. हमेशा हमारे बेस्ट होते थे, दीवारों पे हमारे चार्ट पेपर्स लगते थे बिकॉज
Yes.
हमने मामा के साथ बैठ के प्रोजेक्ट बनाया है.
Because
और मामा वाज रियली गुड एट एवरीथिंग. शी वाज रियली गुड एट राइटिंग. जो आपकी चार्ट पेपर्स के लिए जो एक फॉन्ट आपको चाहिए होता है जो दूर से नज़र आए, अम्मा न्यू हाउ टू डू दैट. और then we would basically go to school, act really cool because we have the best chart papers, ठीक है. So yeah, so that sort of made us, वो हमारा नॉर्मल था, as kids के पेंट्स, you play with paints, you play with color. अब हर समर ब्रेक में हमारे मैगजीन्स के अंदर कोई भी क्राफ्ट एक्सरसाइज होती थी तो वी वुड डू दैट. वो हम पूरा समर वही कर रहे हैं. हम बीट से ज्वेलरी बना रहे हैं. हम एक्रिलिक का आटे से ज्वेलरी बना के एक्रिलिक पेंट कर रहे हैं ऊपर. हम मिट्टी से कुछ बना रहे हैं. सो दिस वाज आवर नॉर्मल घर पे. एंड देन ऑब्वियसली आई मेंशन कि क्लोथिंग के साथ भी ऐसे ही था कि जाके देखो खुद क्या बनाना है, ठीक है, क्या अच्छा लगता है. सो वी ग्रू अप इन अ वेरी artistically nurturing environment घर पे. And then that just sort of channeled into whatever I was doing later. um फिर obviously I was a psychology major, so when people hear कि अच्छा I was doing that and now I'm doing this, so they're also very curious about that. But then वो सारी जो चीज़ें मैंने सीखी implemented in my art business and then in my first job as well, sort of. बहुत थोड़ा अरसा था graduation के फ़ौरन बाद. But yeah, I think उन सारी चीज़ों ने मुझे काफ़ी nurture किया था to be where I am today and what I'm doing.
and definitely it shows in your work as well. Because again, आपने कोई भी फॉर्म है आर्ट की, म्यूजिक है, सिंगिंग है, पेंटिंग है, आर्ट है, उसका भी शायद वो प्रेमिस शायद यही होता है ना कि यू हैव टू प्रैक्टिस,
जी, जी, जी।
है ना?
वो मतलब मैं आपको वही कह रही हूँ कि it was basically this academy where we were
यस.
hearing her sing while she
या.
was cooking, ठीक है?
ओह यस यस.
And so we just love to sing as a family. We love music, we love instruments. So it was a very artistic सा माहौल जो हमारे इर्द-गिर्द बना हुआ था because of our mother. And like both my parents, they're so supportive, they're so kind. And I think I would be nowhere without their support.
She deserves a stake in your company, है ना?
Oh, she already is a stakeholder.
अच्छा, कैसे?
She always like tells people कि नहीं मैं ही हूँ and I'm the मैं ही कर रही हूँ. And
मैं
which
ही
is
कर रही
true
हूँ.
because she
सही.
has just initially supported me
सही.
so much. And not just my mother but my father as well. Like he would, if I need something, if I'm running short on something, if I have to get somewhere and I don't know how to get there, he would be very helpful. And क्या कहते हैं, उनको creative process नहीं इतना शायद समझ आता because अब्बा थोड़े से even though he had a knack for everything art as well, but not as much as my mother, I would say. But he still understands. He is still so supportive. Okay, he took his time to get there, but वो actually मेरे लिए, I think मेरे लिए चीज़ें बहुत आसान हो गई हैं because my parents are there and they're looking out for me.
बिकॉज आई थिंक कि जो आर्ट के जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं ना, वो आर्ट यूनिवर्सिटी जाते हैं एंड देन दे पे फॉर ऑल दोज असाइनमेंट्स एंड ऑल दोज
Yes.
प्रैक्टिस. योर मॉम डिड दोज फॉर यू फॉर फ्री.
Oh yes.
she, like she built this, sort of mechanism in you. You're very hands on, with your approach.
जी जी जी
Now you can
जुगाड़ू है हम लोग
जुगाड़ू भी है,
basically.
but you're doing those things yourself. You
जी
send
जी
के खुद जाके काम करवाना, block print
हाँ
करना.
हाँ हाँ.
You can paint as well. You were telling me,
Oh, my
you were
biggest threat
writing as
is
well.
कि
हाँ
मैं खुद कर लूँगी फिर
हाँ
नहीं करना मैं खुद कर लूँगी.
हाँ,
So that really helps.
है ना?
वो
So
हाँ.
you're thinking with your hands as
जी
well.
जी जी.
It's like that. So yes, she definitely deserves a steak. Okay, so
She will be very happy to hear that.
she will be like, okay, वो तो मेरा है ही
जी
है
जी
ना.
मेरा है
हाँ.
ही.
Sania, you just think you're running this,
नहीं तो वो हमेशा ये कहते हैं तुम मेरी पूरी की पूरी मैंने जो है वो मेरी
हाँ
इजाद हो तो
हाँ.
फिर जाहिर सी बात है everything you do is mine.
Yes,
So she has the perfect amount of ownership and I think she deserves it. So
yes,
वो उनका बनता है उनका हक है.
yes, definitely. Okay, so should we talk a bit about Sifur as well?
Sure.
है ना? कि किस किस्म की डिज़ाइन है, किस किस्म की एस्थेटिक की बात, बिकॉज़ हमने वो सस्टेनेबिलिटी की थोड़ी बात
जी
की,
जी
है
जी.
ना? बट देन लेट्स टॉक अबाउट सिफर. व्हाट्स योर फिलॉसफी, व्हाट सॉर्ट ऑफ collections that you're doing, or is there anything that's coming, in
Yeah, absolutely.
coming weeks and Ramzan and stuff like that?
अच्छा so Sifur started out वो आपने ज़ीरो की बात की थी ना मेरे साथ कि वो ज़ीरो
हाँ,
कहाँ से आया था
सही है.
बेसिकली. सो मेरे लिए ना हमेशा से इट वाज वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट कि जो नाम हो ना लाइक नाउ व्हेन आई डू समथिंग वो नाम ऐसा होना चाहिए वो रेजोनेट करे वो समझ आए इवन दो स्टिल पीपल प्रोनाउंस इट एज सिफोर व्हिच आई एम वेरी कंफ्यूज्ड अबाउट बिकॉज आई एम सॉरी व्हेन यू पिक अप द फोन एंड द लेडीज हु स्पीक्स ऑन द वो जो लाइन पे जब आपका नंबर नहीं लग रहा होता ना तो वो जो लेडी बात करती है ना वो काफ़ी दफ़ा सिफर सॉरी वो काफ़ी दफ़ा सिफर कहती हैं. So I don't know where the Sifur comes from, and that's why I spell it in Urdu as well. So there's no confusion. So it is Sifar,
Hmm.
zero. So that was the idea कि जब कोई नाम हो ना तो एक तो वो मीनिंग एक तो पहले ही चला जाए अक्रॉस हो जाए और वो बहुत आसान हो और हर किसी की ज़बान पे चढ़ जाए बहुत आसानी से. और आई थिंक दैट इज़ व्हाट हैपेंड कि इट मेक्स यू वेरी क्यूरियस कि व्हाई सिफर व्हाई ज़ीरो. So I think कि जो पहली collection थी ना that was the embodiment of that कि it was very cool, very earthy colors, very simple and pieces that you could style over and over and over again. कि वो basic layering pieces थे. They were high quality layering pieces. Trousers थी. There were some shirts और एक बहुत ही constant color palette थी. और आई थिंक दैट वाज आवर फर्स्ट कलेक्शन और मुझे याद है जब फर्स्ट कलेक्शन के बाद मुझे जो फीडबैक आया था उसमें अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल वर आस्किंग कि व्हाई इज देयर नो कलर इन द कलेक्शन वेयर इज द कलर वी वांट मोर कलर फ्रॉम यू एंड आई वाज लाइक अच्छा ठीक है. सो it was a little uncomfortable for me because I was coming from an ideology that I'm gonna make pieces that you can wear barber. But I was like, why can't we wear color barber? What's wrong with wearing color and styling color over and over again? So that was my personal journey as well,
ठीक है.
understanding ke,
Hmm.
as people from such a colorful culture and experience, हम color को minimize नहीं कर सकते अपनी जिंदगियों में से. So for my second collection, which was the Eid collection that I mentioned, उसमें फिर we did bright reds, we did an orange, and we did a very light pink. So और वहाँ से लेके अब तक जो एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हुई है कि आई स्टार्टेड इनकॉर्पोरेटिंग ब्लॉक प्रिंट और एम्ब्रॉयडरी ऑल ऑफ द ओल्ड मेथड्स दैट वी यूज्ड टू प्रैक्टिस फॉर क्लोथिंग वो सारा कुछ इनकॉर्पोरेट करना शुरू कर दिया मैंने आहिस्ता आहिस्ता एंड इट टुक अ व्हाइल ऑब्वियसली एंड देन I think I always mention this, and I will never stop mentioning this. That one of the best things that happened to me was a kurta that I designed, which was called Chan Satara, and it was basically a off-white base जिसपे हमने black चांद और सितारे का print किया था, and the sentiment behind it was just basically के the time near 14 August is just very personal and a little थोड़ा इधर थोड़ा उधर because
सही.
आपको समझ नहीं आ रही होती what you're celebrating for,
सही.
but you still want to celebrate and you
Yes.
don't want to
Hmm.
be too sad about it. So I think every year now I channel my feelings through clothing basically. So वो एक वो कुर्ता था, and then that basically I think connected with so many people because that is when I realized that I'm doing something big.
So the reason, like I was intrigued, or I wanted to know about this, because a lot of founders, a lot of even artists जो हैं उनमें इस तरह की clarity नहीं होती. And especially like taking something or taking a project like this with such definitive understanding of what it is, what you want to do, and how you want to take it further. So I think that is very I found it a very strength in your project, and in you as a leader as well. Okay.
Thank you.
But yes, inshallah,
I
or
think कि ऐसा नहीं है कि distractions नहीं होती हैं, because वो ख्याल ज़रूर आता है कि अच्छा ये चल रहा है अभी, मैं भी क्यों ना उस चीज़ का फ़ायदा उठाऊँ, कि उसी चीज़ पे जाऊँ जो. But then I also mentioned कि whenever I'm able to create now, that comes from, I was talking about those phases where you're not creating anything. I think वो phases इतने important होते हैं ना, for that clarity that you mentioned. You have to give yourself that break to come back to why you started this. Come back to why it was important for me to not do what everyone else is doing. Because yes, that looks very attractive from a distance. But खुद से वो understand. I remember when I was creating the first sari, my teams, like literally the person who was helping me sort everything, he was a tailor, जिनके साथ मैं पिछले 2-3 सालों से, मुझे शायद आइडिया भी नहीं था कि मैं एक्चुअली प्रैक्टिस कर रही हूँ, बट आई यूज्ड टू गिव हिम वेरी ट्रिकी थिंग्स टू मेक, very tricky things to assemble, and then we would make a mistake और फिर हम बैठ कर डिस्कस करते थे कि
yes,
shout out to my master ji. And he would basically tell me नहीं 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 ऐसे नहीं ऐसे नहीं, नहीं 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 ऐसे ऐसे ऐसे. And then we basically both of us, we have huge egos and we just constantly collide, but then we come back और क्या कहते हैं, he's basically like family, so we just cook everything together. और वही था कि हम पिछले 2 सालों से ऐसे ही कर रहे थे कि हम ऐसी चीज़ें बनाते थे, सही नहीं बनती तो अच्छा दोबारा बनाएं, दोबारा बनाते हैं, फिर से करते हैं, फिर डिज़ाइन करते हैं. सो ही टोल्ड मी कि ये कौन सी तुम साड़ी बना रही हो, तो कोई भी नहीं पहनेगा. साड़ी का तो कपड़ा इतना फ्लोई होता है, साड़ी तो ऐसे होती है. बिकॉज हमारे ना यहाँ पे एक वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है कि साड़ी जो है वो बहुत स्लिपरी होती है, वो
फ्लूइड
गिरती
होती है,
है, वो आपने
सेंशुअल. हाँ.
एक बॉलीवुड से वो एक आइडिया लिया हुआ है कि साड़ी उड़ती रहती है बस हर वक्त. ठीक है, साड़ी बड़ी अनकंफर्टेबल भी होती है, साड़ी में आप चल फिर भी नहीं सकते हैं. ठीक है, ये एक हमारी जनरल आइडियोलॉजी है, जबकि साड़ी लिबास है, जिसके लिए कंफर्टेबल है वो है. अब मुझे इतनी आदत पड़ गई है, आई डोंट नो हाउ टू वेयर पैंट्स एनी मोर, बिकॉज दिस इज सो ईजी फॉर मी, दिस इज सो कंफर्टेबल फॉर मी. एंड इट डजंट हैव टू बी फॉर एवरीवन, बिकॉज जिसका है, जिसको कंफर्टेबल लग रहा है वो पहने, उसको नहीं लग रहा ना पहने. इट्स लाइक ये कौन पहनेगा. Because I told you that it was a very academia inspired winter sari. It was supposed to be worn with blazers and thicker outerwear pieces. तो मैंने उनसे कहा, आप क्यों परेशान हो रहे हैं, नहीं कोई लेगा तो ना ले, आप बनाएं बस, आप परेशान मत हो. And I told you what happened with that sari, that it just reached the right audience. And I think वो जो एक कोई यकीन है ना कि अगर मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है ना, तो हो सकता है मेरे जैसा कोई और, शायद वो बहुत ज़्यादा ना हो लोग. तो जैसे now like I would also think about कि नहीं, मतलब people are doing trendy चीज़ें, people are doing all the things that are working for them. I could also be one of them, but then I'm just, I don't know, I hold myself back sometimes. कि maybe the audience that I've created for myself is because of the fact that I don't mix myself in with what everyone else is doing. So, but I do experiment. I do tip my toes and देखने के लिए कि कैसा फील होता है मुझे भी कुछ नया ट्राई करके.
और शायद ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है ना सानिया कि व्हेन यू आर नॉट फॉलोइंग द ट्रेंड, और व्हेन यू आर नॉट फॉलोइंग व्हाट एवरीवन एल्स इज डूइंग, तो ही फिर आपके काम में कोई एक अलग सी चीज़ या कोई नई चीज़ आती है. द यूनिक वैल्यू दैट यू क्रिएट इन योर आर्ट,
Exactly,
वो फिर
exactly.
तभी आ सकती है कि जब आप वो चीज़ ना कर रहे हो कि जो सब सब कुछ कर रहे हैं. ऑफ कोर्स उसमें भी एक अलग तरीका हो सकता है. है ना?
Exactly.
हो
मतलब
सकता
उसमें भी
है.
वही कह रही हूँ ना कि जिस तरह there is so much, I'm sure कि just for example, if someone comes up to me and says ना कि ये एक स्पेसिफिक टाइप की साड़ी है एंड कैन यू डू दैट फॉर अस। जिस तरह बहुत ही एक भरी हुई, वेरी ट्रेंडी, वेरी कपड़ा जो कि यू कुड फाइंड एनीवेयर, दैट काइंड ऑफ साड़ी। तो आई वुड बी वेरी ट्रांसपेरेंट विद देम एंड आई वुड से कि अच्छा, आई डोंट डू दिस एज एन ऑफिशियल आर्टिकल, but if you want my help with it, I'm happy to help you, because I'm also a stylist at the end of the day, so I can give you my styling services. But as a creator, this is something that I would not want to create, because I don't want anyone else to say or claim कि नहीं ये मैंने किया था. Because if you're showing me किसी और का काम and you're saying कि can you do this for me, then go and buy from the person who's already doing it. Because सबका काम मुझे इकट्ठा करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. I something is my expertise. I'm gonna stick to that. So if you want high quality cotton pieces, I'm here for you. And again, like cotton पे कहाँ, I think अभी हम बात कर रहे थे and you asked me ये contact dermatitis क्या होता है. ये कौन सी बला का नाम है. So I think cotton से जो मेरा इतना लगाव है इस वजह से भी है कि cotton is the only material that was very friendly to my skin. And I know there are so many other people who have, इस तरह के issues where they're allergic to synthetic materials, they're allergic to nylon के कपड़े and everything. So जब मैंने initially शुरू किया था, that's why I was so focused on making only cotton pieces. वो sustainability के साथ साथ एक वो, I think वो एक skin friendly fabric में invest करने का भी एक idea था मेरा कि, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think वो just focus then comes back
हाँ,
to all of that के.
सही। अच्छा, टेल मी, लाइक जैसे ये इंस्टेंस थी, योर फर्स्ट साड़ी, and then like you also mentioned that Chand Tara wala
जी.
collection, na? So tell me, as an artist, what sort of feelings you had, okay, in the case of the sari, you were like, इसको बनाए देखते हैं कैसे होगा, ठीक है? Your partner, your collaborator, your master जी was like, ये कौन पहनेगा, क्या चीज़ है? And then you made that collection Chand Tara wali, and then you said कि like then people were like really crazy about it कि अच्छा वो
जी,
they saw
हाँ जी.
like that relevance which you were trying to portray, or you were trying to give your angle as an artist on that occasion कि वो जो भी 14 अगस्त की चीज़ होती है, you were like अच्छा इसको शायद इस तरीके से भी देख सकते हैं, या इसका ये वाला एंगल
एंगल भी हो
एंगल भी है,
सकता
इसको इस
है.
तरीके से भी सेलिब्रेट कर सकते हैं. What I'm trying to ask कि ये दोनों केसेस के अंदर what sort of feelings you go through as an artist when you see that positive response in that reception, and people getting it, and people wanting to take a piece, or uh, grab a you know that
It's
artwork.
actually it's actually very overwhelming कि, because मेरे बोलने से साउंड कर रहा होगा आपको कि मुझे बहुत यकीन होता है कि मैंने बनाया तो ये होगा, मैंने बनाया तो ये नहीं, ये रिस्पॉन्स इसका आएगा. मुझे एक्चुअली मेरे से ज़्यादा सेल्फ डाउट किसी को भी नहीं होता. मेरे से ज़्यादा डाउट अपने आप को कोई करता ही नहीं है, बिकॉज जितना ज़्यादा आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो ना, उतनी ही ज़्यादा वो, जस्ट इट माइट नॉट वर्क आउट लाइक दैट. सो वो चांद सितारा, वो साड़ी वाली चीज़ पे तो चलो मुझे उन्होंने बोला था कि नहीं होगी, इट एंडेड अप हैपनिंग. और ऐसा हुआ था कि आई थिंक इन द कमिंग ईयर, जो उससे अगला साल था, उसमें वो उसके ऑर्डर्स आए थे, एंड आई थिंक द लास्ट साड़ी गॉट सोल्ड आउट आफ्टर जो नेक्स्ट हमने साड़ी कलेक्शन की थी, उसके बाद वो फर्स्ट साड़ी सोल्ड आउट हुई थी. सो बहुत सब्र लगता है इन चीज़ों का रिजल्ट एक्चुअली देखने के लिए. चांद सितारा के साथ ये था दैट उसके लिए आई वॉज जस्ट, मतलब मैं वो ये हुई भी थी कि मुझे ये करना है, ये किसी भी हाल में करना है, बिकॉज ये मैं अपने लिए कर रही हूँ, ये मैं उस सेंस में कर रही हूँ कि उसका ये था कि इसके अंदर से ना आपने जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग निकालनी है ना, ये खुद निकालनी है.
As part of your
सो
self expression.
हाँ, कि मैं आपको नहीं बताऊंगी ये क्या है, कि वो सफ़ेद कपड़े पे वो, वी थॉट ऑफ कलर्स पहले ना, वी थॉट कि विल डू ग्रीन चांद सितारा, इट्स लाइक नहीं, दिस हैज़ टू बी अ प्लेन वाइट फैब्रिक and a black block on it, because it's that simple to understand what is happening around us. वो जो सफोकेशन एक हम फील करते हैं ना उस दिन पे, और वो जो एक खट्टी मीठी सी खुशी जो हम महसूस करते हैं उस दिन
सही
पे,
है, बिल्कुल सही.
कि
हम्म.
हमें समझ नहीं आ रहा होता कि कि हम like sometimes I'm actually thinking तुम ये बाजी क्यों बचा रहे हो? इतनी किस बात की खुशी चढ़ी हुई है?
सही है।
Genuinely feel that way sometimes.
ठीक है।
So because I think to clarify it more, like आपको पता है हमारी situation क्या है इस वक्त के, like overall ही पूरे मुल्क की जो situation है, we are in a crisis, or but I think we have to stay strong for each other. So it was just my attempt to do that कि वो पहुंच रही है किसी तक, और वो उसने उसको जैसे भी लेना है ना उस print को, उस emotion को वो वैसे ले सकता है. So it was just that. And then क्या कहते हैं, I think you mentioned another art. हाँ जी, एक और article आप कह रहे थे मेरे ख्याल है.
The first saree that you made with Master Ji and
हाँ जी,
the Master Ji said कि कौन पहनेगा
हाँ
कैसे
जी, हाँ
बेटी?
जी, वो तो ऑब्वियसली
वो वाली।
मतलब उसका तो
हाँ।
वही है ना कि वो उसका रिजल्ट के सामने वो वेबसाइट पे सोल्ड आउट पड़ी हुई है तो वी
Yes,
नेवर
सही
डिड
है।
दैट अगेन. हम
Yes.
मेरा ये भी अक्सर होता है कि अगर एक आर्टिकल चला गया है तो फिर वो चला गया, फिर वो बहुत मुश्किल होगा कि वो दोबारा आएगा बिकॉज
Okay, so now help me get a comparison, because you're mostly an online brand,
जी,
है ना? You
हाँ
have
जी,
a website, you have your social media, but then you do events as well. You displayed your work at multiple places, and then I think you were present at a store for a
हाँ जी.
brief period of time as
It
well.
was a store called Yoko,
ठीक
which
है.
opened in Gulbarg. I think a lot of people were very sad when it closed because वो एक काफ़ी वो किसी काफ़ी सारे लोगों के लिए वो बन गया था एक spot where they could hang out, I'm sure. So
Can you like draw a comparison of like in terms of online or in stores sales or customer behavior?
अच्छा, सेल्स का ये था कि यूर बिकॉज पीपल आर वॉकिंग इन, तो ऑब्वियसली जितना वेबसाइट से रेवेन्यू जनरेट हो रहा होता है वो वॉक इन की वजह से इट्स वेरी डिफरेंट. Also, one thing that I started noticing is that women or people who were just going to my website and they were a little bit unsure about what to order. Um, तो उनको क्योंकि वो फैब्रिक एक्चुअली फ़ील कर रहे थे जाके इन स्टोर, तो उनके लिए वो एक्सपीरियंस बहुत होलसम हो रहा था कि वो एक्चुअली ले सकते हैं देख के कपड़ा कैसा है. Then I think वो मेरे लिए it was the sweetest time for me. I got 2 calls. This lady called me once and she said ke beta, I just wanted to call you and tell you myself ke how amazing you're doing. बहुत प्यारा काम कर रही हो, ऐसे ही करती रहो, एंड आई प्लेस्ड एन ऑर्डर तो मुझे उसकी अपडेट दे देना. शी एक्चुअली कॉल्ड मी टू से दैट. एंड देन देयर वाज अनदर पर्सन हु कॉल्ड अगैन कि मैंने आपका काम योको पे देखा है, आई ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू वंडर कि हाउ डज इट फील इन रियल टाइम, एंड आई जस्ट एब्सोल्युटली फेल इन लव विद the articles when I saw them in person. And like while I'm saying this, you can imagine कि वो phone call के बाद मेरा self confidence और वो सब कहाँ होगा, because just hearing from a person who has more experience or has more just seen more life than you, और वो आपको ऐसे encourage कर रहे हैं, तो I think उससे ज़्यादा खूबसूरत बात कोई नहीं हो
Yes,
सकती है.
and getting that like that response of your
बिल्कुल,
efforts, like
बिल्कुल,
putting a
बिल्कुल.
product out there, putting a piece out there, and then
Exactly.
people responding in a really like positive sense.
I think I
Okay.
was just sitting at Yoko ही one day, तो एक खातून बैठी हुई थी, तो उन्होंने मुझे बोला कि बेटा आप डिज़ाइंस अपने ब्लाउसेस के इंडिया से मंगाते हो, जो वो होते हैं जो आपके कट्स होते हैं जो. मैंने कहा नहीं, we're doing everything here, we're designing that in Lahore, we're doing everything in my area, we're stitching them here, सब कुछ यहीं हो रहा है. She's like, no, you're doing a great job because one thing that here we lack is that we don't know how to make good blouses, because for a very major chunk के साड़ीज़ जो है हम नहीं पहन रहे थे, हम कंज्यूम नहीं कर रहे थे साड़ीज़. क्या कहते हैं, सो 2000 से लेके अभी वाला टाइम था जो हमने घरों पे पहनना या रेगुलरली डेली रूटीन में पहनना उस तरह से बंद कर दी हुई थी. तो आपके ब्लाउसेस आर अमेजिंग बिकॉज they're made very well. So, hearing feedback from people who are, actually sitting in front of you, and they're seeing you and they're seeing how much you're working, or then I think there was this जो आप इन स्टोर का पूछ रहे हैं ना कि क्या डिफरेंस होता है, I was sitting there once and someone bought my sari while I was sitting there. Or I think वो एक just like looking at the customer in real time, how do they feel, how do they interact with your product, I think that's amazing when you're doing in store. But inshallah, soon in the near future, we'll do permanent space where people can come in and experience Sifur in real
I think
time.
definitely, and I think we all should definitely check out the Ramzan collection that you're
Oh
putting
yes,
out there.
Eid is big for us.
Eid
Eid
is
is
coming.
very
Eid is
important for
coming.
us.
Okay. I think this brings us to the end of our conversation. You said, excuse me, in the middle you said, like you're running a small business, but I hope, but I think in a way I'm sure that you do know that how powerful this business is.
Thank you.
Because you in the beginning you also said, आप you say this to your customers के आप एक दफ़ा जाके देख लें कि आपको चाहिए भी कि नहीं.
Hmm.
I think that's very again a powerful thing to say or to come from a business कि वो एक कस्टमर को ये कह रहा है कि आपको चाहिए भी कि नहीं, आप देख लें आपकी ज़रूरत है भी कि नहीं, बिकॉज बिजनेस तो हमेशा ये कहते हैं ना कि प्लीज़ हमारी चीज़ खरीद लें, बट हैविंग दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ माइंडसेट,
I
हैविंग दैट सॉर्ट
think
ऑफ
one thing that used to bother me a lot growing up was how a lot of businesses they run on the idea कि किसी की insecurity है और उसको target करना, whether it be you're not happy with the way you look, you're not satisfied with what you have, हमेशा वो बेहतर से बेहतर से बेहतर से बेहतर वाला जो एक वो हमने एक वो बनाई हुई है ना, which is again justified, that's how the world works. But क्योंकि वो आप वो कह रहे हैं ना कि how did you come to that realization or that understanding? I don't want anyone to feel like they don't belong. Or matlab, if something is not for them, okay, it's completely all right. So that's why I say na कि आप एक दफा, because if you have a purple sari in your closet already, if you have something which is going to work just fine for that event, why not?
why not, definitely. So yes, I think I wish like more artists, more creative directors, and more fashion labels are as brave as this, or as responsible, or as sensible as this.
I'm definitely not perfect in my practices. I'm
Sorry.
just on a learning curve as well, and I think the one thing that I never forget is that we're all learning and we're learning together. That's why I say I never want to sound preachy when I say this. कि हमारी जो एक वो है ना, एक सोसाइटी को हमें टाइम देना होता है टू लर्न अ न्यू प्रैक्टिस. वो कहते हैं ना, लर्न और अनलर्न करते रहना चाहिए. तो अगर कुछ सीखा हुआ है उसको भुलाएंगे तो फिर नई चीज़ सीखेंगे ना, तो फिर उसके लिए वक्त चाहिए होता है. तो हम इम्पेशेंट नहीं हो सकते इन प्रैक्टिसेस को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए. सो दैट्स वाई आई थिंक द फोकस शुड बी ऑन creating constant awareness, जो कि I think I try to do with my work as well. I try to talk about these things very constantly. Or that's it. That's how you implement. Start with yourself and then move on.
Yes, बिल्कुल. Thank you so much, Sania.
Thank you for
But
having
one
me.
last most important questions. If I go on your website and I saw something, am I getting a discount or not?
Of course, I already told you I'll be sending you a क्या कहते हैं, a thank you
Oh,
for hosting this.
no,
But
thank
yes, um, we're not a fan of giving discounts. But since you asked,
no, thank you. I would love to. I would love to
yeah, yeah,
be one of
absolutely,
your
I'm just
collectors as well.
kidding.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in today. Thank you so much. Of like sharing the journey and
No,
like
thank
the
you for having me. It
different
was a
aspects
pleasure.
here. Yes, it was pleasure. Thank you.